Hi everyone! Today we're going to be talking about peer pressure. But before we begin our new topic today, I want to do a little bit of review. So what did we talk about last time? Let's think about that for a minute. Well, we talked about effective communication and we also talked about relationships. So what do we want in a friend, right? So going back to effective communication, we want to make sure we're active listeners, right? So what does that mean? We want to make sure we lean in. We want to make sure we give the speaker eye contact, and we also want to make sure we ask clarifying questions, right? So if we're not understanding something that the speaker is saying, it's okay to ask questions, okay? Because we want to make sure that we're receiving that message and we're understanding that message fully, okay? So it is okay to ask the speaker questions. And we want to make sure we're an active listener. We want to make sure we have that effective communication. Effective means that it's understood, right? Okay, so regarding friendships, we want healthy friendships. So what does that look like? Well, we want a friend who can tell funny stories, who can help us with our homework, who takes turns, who's supportive, right? Who says nice things. We don't want friends who are mean and that lie to us, right? We want friends that encourage us to try our best. So it's important to tell people how you're feeling, right? That's a part of effective communication. So when you have a trouble time with your friend, you want to make sure you're telling that friend how you feel, okay? Because that's effective communication. People can't read our minds, right? So we want to make sure that we're telling people how we feel. Okay, that is a form of effective communication. So now let's go ahead and get into our new lesson regarding peer pressure. So who is a peer? Well, I am not your peer. Your teacher is not your peer. Your parents are not your peer. So who is your peer? Well, a peer is someone who is the same age as you, okay? So it could be a classmate, a neighbor, somebody you know that is the same age, okay? So that is a peer. It can also be a friend, right? Okay, so sometimes friends might push us to do something we don't want to do or to do something we know is wrong and might get us in trouble. We call this negative peer pressure. Is there such a thing as positive peer pressure? Yes, there is. Sometimes our friends pressure us to do things that are good for us. So here's an example of positive peer pressure. Maybe our friend is trying to pressure us to study for a test, try out for a sports team, to do the right thing, okay? So we're going to look at Larry's choice, and this is an example of negative peer pressure. So this is a little story regarding Larry and his friends. Friend 1 says, "Larry, why are you carrying that dumb lunchbox?" Larry says, "I love this lunchbox. My little sister gave it to me." Friend 2 says, "If you want to be friends with us, you have to lose that lunchbox." Friend 1 says, "Yeah, only babies carry lunchboxes like that." Friend 1 says, "Grow up. Put your lunchbox in a brown paper bag." Larry to himself says, "I don't want to hurt my sister's feelings, but I don't want to lose my friends either." Larry's sister says, "Larry, why aren't you using the lunchbox I gave you?" Larry's lunchbox then ripped and his lunch went all over the cafeteria floor. Friend 1 laughs. "Nice lunch, Larry." So let's talk about this. Did Larry like his lunchbox? He did. Okay? If he liked his lunchbox, why did Larry change his mind about carrying it? Well, Larry changed his mind because his friends pressured him. Larry did not refuse the negative peer pressure. And in a few minutes here, we're going to talk about how to refuse peer pressure. So whose decision was it for Larry to switch from the lunchbox to the brown paper bag? It was was Larry's decision. Even though his friends teased and pressured him, it was still up to Larry to switch his lunchbox. What were the consequences of Larry's decision? His lunch fell on the floor, right? That was the consequence. His friends laughed at him. He hurt his sister's feelings because he wasn't using the lunchbox she gave him. Do you think Larry was happy about his decision? No. So in our story, Larry was responsible for the decisions he made. So let me ask you this question, class. Who is responsible for the decisions you make? Who's responsible for your decisions? You are, right? Okay? No matter what other people are telling us that we should do, what they think we should do, the decision is always up to you, okay? So remember that. You are responsible for your decisions. Even though your parents and teachers help you make decisions, you are still responsible for the decisions you make. There's going to be times when your peers try to pressure you to make a bad decision or change your mind about something. And now we're going to talk about those strategies that will help us refuse this negative peer pressure. So, my next question. Okay, so let's talk about what is a strategy. When you hear that word, strategy, what do you think of? Hopefully, most of you think of a plan. Okay? So a strategy is a plan of action. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at those refusal techniques, or in other words, refusal strategies we can use when we are facing negative peer pressure. Okay, class, so let's go over the 4 peer pressure refusal strategies. Okay, so the first one here is simply to say no. Say no, thanks, no way, no, I don't want to. Okay, the next one here says ignore. Now I know this might seem rude, but it's not. If somebody is pressuring you to do something negative and unsafe and irresponsible, it is okay to ignore them, to pretend that you do not even hear them. Okay, the next one here, better idea. Better idea means to suggest something safe and fun to do instead of the negative activity your peer is pressuring you to do. The next one here is walk away. So if somebody is pressuring you to do something unsafe or negative, just simply walk away to a safe place. So if somebody is pressuring you in the hallway at school, a safe place where you could go is to another classroom, the office, or talk to a trusted adult. Walk away as soon as you can, okay? So those are the 4 peer pressure refusal strategies that I would like you to practice when you face negative peer pressure. So we're going to go ahead and practice these a little bit more. So here I have a picture of students, and they're at recess. It looks like the swing set's behind them there. And his friends are pressuring him to smoke a cigarette. Okay? Look at his face right now. Does he seem sure? Does he seem like this is the right thing to do? No, he looks scared, right? Okay? And look at his friends. They're like, come on, you can do it, pointing at him, okay? The one girl has her hand on his shoulder and kind of like a snarky face, meaning like, if you don't do it, like, I'm going to be upset with you, right? Okay, so they are pressuring him right now to smoke the cigarette. He has the cigarette in his hand. So let's help our friend out here. Which refusal strategy? Well, we could use all of them. So let's go through all of them, okay? But you don't have to use all of them, but if one doesn't work, you may use the other. So let's try this one. Say no, okay? So you could simply say, no, no thank you, I'd rather not. Smoking is not healthy for children. It's not healthy for your lungs at all, right? Okay, so, and if that doesn't work, then what he could do is ignore them. Well, actually, in this case, he already paid attention to them, right? So if he tried this first, he could ignore them, and he just could be swinging on the swing set and pretend like he doesn't even hear them, right? Okay, so if that doesn't work, he can suggest a better idea. Hey, instead of smoking cigarettes, let's go have some ice cream instead. And if that doesn't work, well, he can walk away, okay? Walk away to a better activity. Maybe other kids are playing dodgeball, and he walks over that way and starts playing dodgeball instead of feeling the negative peer pressure from his friends, okay? So that is an example, and so if one of these do not work, then you can try another, okay? Because that is possible. You know, you might struggle with one, so that's why there's 4 that you can use. All right, so let's practice some more here. Let me grab my pressure sensor cards, okay? This would be a game, but since we have to do it virtually, I'm just going to read some examples for you, okay? So let's see here. Anne loves her character backpack. When her friends see it, they laugh and say, "What a baby. You need a cool one like us." Anne said in a firm voice, "No, I like my backpack." Which peer pressure refusal strategy did Anne use? Well, she said no, right? So that is the refusal strategy she used. Let's try a few more here. Okay. Chip kept pressuring Brady. "You have to tell Lizzie you like her." "Don't be a chicken." Brady turned around and walked away. Which peer pressure refusal strategy did Brady use? Says it right in here, right? He walked away, right? That's the one he used. Okay, let's do a few more. Okay. Kim kept pressuring Mary to change her hairstyle. Mary pretended like she didn't even hear her. Which peer pressure refusal strategy did Mary use? Okay, if you're thinking this one, you are correct. She ignored her, right? All right. Let's try a few more. Okay. Michelle isn't allowed to play certain video games. Will said, "Let's play this new game my brother bought. We can shoot and kill space aliens." Michelle said, "I have a better idea. Let's go play basketball instead." Which peer pressure refusal strategy did Michelle use? Okay, if you're thinking this one, awesome job, better idea. Okay, we'll do a few more here. Donnie and his friend Alex were riding bikes. Alex said, "Hey, let's knock over the neighbor's bird bath." Donnie pretended like he didn't hear anything and just kept riding his bike. Which peer pressure refusal strategy did Donnie use? He ignored him, right? Okay. One more. On the way back to class after a fire drill, Isabel's friend said, "Hey, let's sneak to the library." Isabel looked her friend in the eye and said, "No, I don't want to." Which peer pressure refusal strategy did Isabel use? Okay, if you're thinking this one, awesome job. She said no, right? Okay, so hopefully you guys have a better idea how to use these peer pressure refusal strategies. okay? Because as you grow older, guys, you're going to face more negative peer pressure. I hate to say it, but it's going to happen, and you need to keep these in mind, okay, to help you refuse that peer pressure. Okay, so let me make sure we touched on everything before we end, okay? All right, so I just want to thank you guys for an awesome job, okay? And using these strategies takes practice, so continue to practice them, okay? And if you have any questions about today's lesson, please have a trusted adult email us at skazaprevention@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can, okay? You guys have an awesome day.